Thank you so much. Yeah, as we arranged for additional mics, we already had our panel discussion off the stage since morning. We have been discussing various topics, and I think this discussion now is just an extension of the discussion we have been having since morning on the emerging trends in artificial intelligence and various other related technologies. Before we begin this panel discussion, let us have a round of introductions of all the panelists on this stage today. Beginning with me, my name is Rajnish Vyakaranam. I work for Evernorth Health Services. I lead their procurement organization. Evernorth is a new GCC that's burgeoning in Hyderabad. So here is to Evernorth. Next.
Hi, myself is Vishal, and I am taking care of complete end-to-end procurement for Banerjee, India. We are into mortgage loans for most of the US places.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saurabh. I am from Cyient Limited. I lead the IT procurement, hardware, software, and automation, and I'm originally from Hyderabad.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Arnab Banerjee. I work with Micron Technology. It's a semiconductor company in the memory and storage business. I lead the supply chain AI part for Micron. And the supply chain, because Micron is an IDM, integrated device manufacturer, so it includes everything from procurement, manufacturing, to all the logistics and supply chain functions. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Hanuma Pogaru. I am part of Capgemini Invent, and I lead supply chain transformation primarily from procurement and sustainable value chain services. And nice to have been part of this panelist and share my opinions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the entire panel for introducing themselves. So the previous panel discussion, if anybody knows what's the topic on the previous panel discussions, if you don't remember, I'll tell you. It was building smarter and sustainable enterprise. GCCs to build smarter and sustainable enterprise. Now, who builds these enterprise without procurement organization? So here we are all sitting here as procurement professionals, trying to contemplate what is that high-end work that's happening in the GCCs. And you know what high-end work, when we refer to high-end work, it's all about artificial intelligence, machine learning, neuro-linguistic program, and chatbots. In fact, when we were discussing in the morning, we also discussed that there was one organization which has replaced their HR professionals with chatbots. So with so much of emerging technology, what are procurement professionals doing? How are all these generative AI impacting procurement organization, procurement decision making, and our vendors also directly? So to help us understand what is the current state and what is the future state of procurement organization in respects to the generative AI, let's ask our panelists a few questions and understand interesting perspectives from them. So my first question to the panel, starting from my left, to Vishal is, what do you think is the current state of AI and how is procurement being impacted because of artificial intelligence?
So procurement being one of the most important, I can say, function of any corporate, which was like untouched by AI for a very long time. So if we see from a longer run perspective in US and other parts of the country, the AI was started long ago. But it took some time for us to get the AI role in India. Right now, if you talk more about procurement using AI, I can say procurement is like a hand-to-hand working with AI. So there is a lot of things which come into the place, whereas quality check, or maybe we can talk more about data analyzing and a lot of other stuff where AI is helping us out. So I would say first we have to make sure the existing, any ERP what we are using it, we should have to see how AI can help us out and integrate with the existing ERPs. Then only it is going to help any of our corporates to use the tool. Anything else?
Anybody has any further comments on this?
Sure. Especially when we talk from the IT perspective, right? It's very important that AI should be our daily bread and butter, because whenever you talk to your suppliers, right, it becomes a necessary tool for us, right? Because that's how we can go into the market and find out either a local or a global supplier, right? And using AI, I think it's primitive to use AI, according to me, in today's world.
So my thought process will be slightly more oriented towards the manufacturing part of the things and the procurement in the manufacturing organizations, especially primarily because of the kind of background I have and the kind of company I work for. So when I look at AI in the procurement area, I will put it into, there are 2-3 pockets or 2-3 areas where it is significantly impacting. The first area is supplier selection. There is a lot of AI, there is a lot of intelligence being built in for the supplier selection. And when I say intelligence, being a global organization, there are things like you will even look at diversification of your geography from where your suppliers are coming. You are looking at the diversification of the products, from how these products are being made and how it is being supplied to you. So there is a lot of intelligence in the supplier selection. The other aspect where a lot of intelligence and AI is coming is, apart from the supplier selection, the product and how you can drive more of product commonality. This is one area, and my procurement friends will agree, I hope will agree with me, that today the product diversification, the number of SKUs we have or any company has, it is so diversified. When it comes to the components, it is also equally diverse. But then it becomes a challenge for my procurement friends. And that's where the product commonality becomes another important area. And believe me, there is a lot of AI being used to drive commonality of the products. The other area where AI is coming into the picture, and which I would like to highlight also, is the interface of procurement with planning. So when we do the supply planning, from the supply planning it interfaces and goes into the procurement part for the execution. That area is another area where AI is influencing a lot. So this is how I would say the AI is influencing the procurement. And there is one more area which is influencing the procurement a lot, and that is the insights of the market coming into the procurement. Means, I will give you an example. Suppose we buy rectifiers. Suppose we buy rectifiers, or even more simpler, inductance and resistors. Okay. Now, these inductance and resistors are not just used by the semiconductor companies, but probably they are used by a automotive company and probably 1,000 other types. Now, are these products which we are buying, are these products being influenced by any other demand? And today we are blind to it. We don't look at it. But with the AI and the kind of data we have, we can get that insight, and that can help us in the procurement decisions. So I would broadly say these are the 3-4 areas where AI is greatly influencing the procurement.
Yeah, the panelists talked about more AI and some of the use cases, but I would like to bring two parts of it. One is we are using AI very loosely in terms of multiple things that are happening. A bit of view on how that AI has been evolved, and the second aspect is what companies are doing in procurement space. So the AI, when it started, actually we started with a descriptive decision making in terms of more analyzing what data we have and what events have happened. Then it started with a robotic process automation, where process automation can take place. That's where whatever the manual steps, how you can automate it. So that's how we started with it. And then came the machine learning. So instead of human intervention after every step, then we started having machine learning, and it started taking little bit of decisions, whichever are routine in nature. So it became AI plus ML. Now the next generation in last 2 years, what is we talked about is Gen AI. That is where, you don't have to go through all these systems, but you ask a question, it's more human interface. Now, last few months or few maybe less than a year. It's more talking about agentic AI. So how agentic AI is helping in overall procurement space. Instead of having multiple humans taking repetitive decisions, agentic AI itself, through multiple agents, are trying to perform all the functions. So that's how the evolution is happening. And if we see companies' point of view, the leaders primarily, what they are doing in procurement function. So primarily, like the leaders are like Unilever, BMW, they're all using this Gen AI and AI for their supplier risk management and tracking their supplier carbon footprint. Whereas middle adopters, they are more like Nestle and all, they are trying to use for, supply chain analytics, procurement analytics, and also more spend analysis and all. And the low adopters or just the starters are talking more about, like they don't have data maturity and all, and they're just trying to see what can be done. So this is how both from the evolution part of it and what companies are doing. So I'll pause here. Thank you.
Thank you to the panel. So what the question I asked to the panel was, how is AI or these generative AI impacting the procurement world? But I see that at this point of time, there is no heavy impact on the procurement world, but there is a lot of thought process getting into how to implement AI and generative AI into our day-to-day work activities. Yeah, we'll get there. So the next question I had for the panelists, so we have a lot of suppliers here who are trying to sell technology as well. Like you have Whistle Drive, you have a few other companies who are selling fleet management technology. So there is a lot of scope even for these suppliers to be able to implement AI into their day-to-day service offerings and products. So what do you think? Are suppliers coming up with such innovative ideas of enhancing their products using a few of these latest technology components, or are they not doing? Where are we in India exactly? I know globally there is a lot of adoption to AI and we have gone forward quite a lot globally, but what's happening in India? What is the local market like? Do we see the suppliers adopting or we don't see?
So we can say like on the supplier front, we have seen like a lot of big suppliers or the big OEMs, they have now started moving to the AI platform. So that is going to help overall the corporates to get a good number of AI-enabled vendors. So this is going to help each and every corporate whenever we search for any good vendor in the market. So we will have the top search of the all AI vendors. So that is more, I can say, the big OEMs have taken up. The small vendors might take little time to get into the complete AI because it's not so cheap. So there is a lot of expenditure which has to be put down.
Yeah, I mean, suppliers have to adapt to AI, right? So let me give you an example for our company, right? For Cyient, right? For aerospace department, right? The suppliers are using a CAD tool, but with that they need AI because if they use AI, they itself, for that particular part, they will do the drawings and everything and show it to our customers, which impacts how AI is generative right now, right? So I think the supply should adapt to the AI technology.
Yep. I can just add the flavor of the direct procurement part also. Like, yes, I also do see a lot of suppliers in the direct procurement side also adopting AI. The biggest thing which caught my attention in last 6 months is a lot of suppliers are now doing the analysis of your procurement and they are coming up with ideas and they are coming up with recommendations for you where you can save money. I will give you this example where I worked on a project with not directly as a procurement but for our distributors. And we analyzed how the distributors purchase our products, how much they do the POS, the point of sale, and how much they return. And those kind of analysis we did. And then we came up with a solution and we went back to the distributors and said that it was an AI solution, by the way. It is a data-driven in a way. So when we talked about the model and when we told them that you can adopt this solution and you are going to save on your capital, They were very happy, and the solution was rolled out to 149 distributors, although not really suppliers, but distributors. But what I want to say is, this is what is the trend globally. This is what I see all around. So what we did to our distributors, I see the same our suppliers doing with us. They give us our usage, they give us insights on our usage and all, and they come up with the recommendations. So it is truly a 360-degree usage of AI, where it is being, where we are doing something for our customers and some suppliers are doing for us.
So it is a collaborative effort. So we also need some enhanced product from all the suppliers, and suppliers also have to work together to bring us those enhanced products to us. So I think there is a work that needs to happen from both the ends, from a supplier perspective and from the organization perspective as well. Hanuma, you have something to add on this?
Yeah, I think you have touched upon the points rightly. So 2 points that I would like to add. So whenever the supplier evaluations are happening from the organization side, sustainability is also become one of the key factors in the evaluation. And also from the IT adoption point of view, if we see from the supplier's point of view, like few of the industries, or like for example, transportation services offering companies. So they are adopting AI very fast. And similarly, if we see any of the industrial manufacturing companies which are coming with self-healing techniques and self-analytics in terms of predictive maintenance and all. So I think even suppliers from different industries are adopting, and they are at different stages in their evolution. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the panel. So we talked about how AI is impacting the procurement world. Then we talked about the suppliers. So we discussed suppliers and the procurement organization should collaborate together to implement as much as latest technology possible into the products. And now the question is, what are the challenges we are facing using AI? What do you think is the biggest risk of using AI in the process of procurement, and then using AI products that supplier offers?
See, one of the biggest challenge, I would say, that is something more on the compliance front. So being very frank, not all the vendors are so comfortable with AI, and there is some input what we give to the AI. Basis on that, the vendor verification, everything happened. So we have to be more comfortable, or the vendors have to be more comfortable over giving the data what we need to make sure that is required as a requirement of the company, where AI can do the proper check, which is missing right now, I feel.
Yeah, in terms of the challenge, when we talk about AI, there are two things which are very dominant. One is data. And data is, and I'm doing this for last 3.5 years, I can vouch for it. The handling of the data, the technologies which are needed to handle the data is itself very challenging, number one. More importantly, we need to have the data. And there is no clean data. No organization can have a very clean data. So obviously that becomes a big challenge. The other thing is, when we say AI, and generally we are coming to something called as a prediction models. Predictions are not very difficult to do, but it is very difficult to comprehend. When you get a number, or when you get something as a prediction, it's very difficult to give a reason why this number is correct. Historically, when you look at it, when you look back retrospectively, you will have 5 reasons why that number was wrong. But when you are predicting something, it's very difficult to say whether it is right or wrong. So this is where I see the challenges. So that's why specifically when we are talking about AI, and when we are using it for our suppliers, or when we are working it with our suppliers, it becomes challenging.
Yeah, just adding to that, that's where procurement comes in, right? Because whenever there's data, right, contractually with the suppliers, you have to make sure that, we have a thing called a data privacy agreement, right? Because that protects your company, right? Wherever there is data, you have to protect it, right? So that is why wherever there is compliance risk, procurement comes in, and, we deliver those results via data privacy agreement or any other kind of agreement that we have for data, right? That's how procurement resolves this issue.
Thank you. So let's talk about decision making. All of the suppliers here will be curious to know how do we select a supplier in a organization. So procurement has a bias. We look at the best cost possible. The business has a bias. They look at the service products. They have a predefined idea of what kind of a supplier they want. But between these two, it's always a surprise to a supplier if they don't get selected. A lot of times they get upset, why are we not selected into this? So how is the selection process? How can the latest technology help us take a decision which is unbiased and ensure that a right product is selected? So bottom line question is, how the latest technology is helping us make decisions of supplier selection or the procurement process overall? Yes.
Yeah, I can start with it. So again, if you have to really see from the procurement function as such, it is moving from cost-oriented transactional to value-based, right? So if you have to move to value-based organization as a procurement function, you have to make decisions across all levels, a strategic level, tactical level, operational level. So if you see from the adoption point of view, strategic decisions primarily, it's not just focusing on what you are procuring, but total cost of ownership is one of your key aspects that you need to consider. So how do you arrive at that? So you have a lot of mechanisms in terms of AI helping in collecting the data, market intelligence and other aspects, and then how you can make the decision. The second is also make versus buy decisions, regulatory, risk compliance, all these areas from strategic point, this is working. So tactical point in terms of supplier selection, it's not just the cost alone the vendor is quoting, of course payment terms, conditions, all those things. But if you see drastically things are happening in the market, right? So how the geopolitical situations are changing or how the material availability is changing and whether that supplier is from that location and whether they'll be able to make your requirements in, whatever as per your requirements. That's a kind of tactical decisions where AI can help. And operational decisions, if you see procure to pay process, it's purchase to pay process if we call it. So every step of it, whether you are creating a purchase order, purchase requisition, purchase order, how you can create automatically these things, invoice or payments, how automated you can do the payments. So it's like at every stage, both RPA plus your Gen AI in terms of asking questions on performance, get internal data also you can use from Gen AI than going into all systems. And then of course now agentic AI is performing some of the tasks which really manual or human specialized inputs are not required. So I would say that these are the three elements where AI is helping to make the decisions.
Yeah, and one interesting question I have is, so you detailed about the procure-to-pay process, right? With generative AI coming into picture, do you think there will be a process someday that without any human interaction, the generative AI is completely, the business user throws a request and the generative AI say, this is a supplier you have to work with, and it gives the supplier and the generative AI even does the contracting part. So do you foresee any future of this sort?
No. So it's not possible that without human touch, the complete procurement thing is going on. Okay. So there is a touch needed because not everything the AI can do it. So I would say human touch is mandatory. It's not on all cases, but some cases where the quality inspections or the sampling, how we do it. So on that basis, we need to have a human touch.
Yes.
Also, I think it's a long way for India to get into the Gen AI. Like, look at today, right? Why are there so many 38 booths, right? There is still that human touch needed to sell your product, right? Let it be, I was just looking at one of the automated, I was just seeing that the water was coming, right, via that robot. But there was a human guy running behind that robot. So still that human touch is always going to be there.
And so right now I'm working with this agentic AI thing, and when I'm trying to develop this, my experience is that something which is of volume, which is of scale, it is definitely possible that it can be completely done by an agent. But as Saurabh rightly said, only when it is a very straightforward, it may not be a straightforward, but it is a clearly defined thing. But as we know, in every business and in every process, there will be one thing which will be straight defined and you can develop it. But there will be always processes around it. There will be always caveat. There will be always some deviation from it. Those things cannot be handled by any technology. At least I don't see that in 2025, 2026 happening. Can it be possible in 2035? Yes, maybe. But at this point of time, I don't see that. So yes, but also I see by 2030, things which are streamlined and scale. Means you cannot develop a agentic AI for something which is very small. If it is scale and it is something which is very well defined, it is possible to be done. But yeah, only that. When there is a deviation, it will get stuck and then humans have to come.
So, Anirban, I have one question here again for you. So what's happening is we are all GCCs here. The conclave is a GCC conclave, right? So this question stemmed just right into my mind, and I thought I'd ask this. GCCs are nothing but organizations that are setting up their units in India who are already a very standard or a big organization in the US. And we are talking about West being quite advanced in implementing these generative AI technologies. And we are, on the contrary, also saying that India is far behind implementing these generative AI strategies. But it's the same organization. Why do you think we don't have the infrastructure in India to be able to do that? Or because we are the same people who are delivering it for them in the US. So why are we behind versus why are they ahead? So what do you think could be the problem here?
So if I understand your question, you are saying that India is a hub for GCC. We are developing these things for the companies in US. But why it is not happening for India, for the Indian companies?
Yes. Why are we not as superior as them in the generative AI technology compared to the West?
Yeah, there can be multiple reasons, and I am giving my opinion, and my opinion can be right, can be wrong as well. I find the difference is in the mindset. This is what I find the most compelling reason. When we look at these global organizations, whether it is in the North America or the Europe or wherever it is, if there is a GCC and it is operating here and it is getting the mandate to develop these technology things, they are taking a risk. They are exploring. And I have seen, probably 8 years back, not 8 years back, 6, 7 years back, I used to work a lot on blockchain. And it didn't flourish a lot. I did a lot of POCs and all those things. We still do it in Micron, but it's not something which has really taken off. Gen AI has taken off much, much more, much faster and much bigger scale than blockchain. So, but then there are many of these companies who have mandated a lot of things to be developed on blockchain. They were taking a bet. It didn't work. But India, in my opinion, is very fail-safe. We look at the value first. Do we make money out of it or not? If we don't make money, we don't do it. One of the good examples is this Ola thing, right, which was going on with Google and all. So how many of us can even thought of developing a map? We didn't, right? So it's fine. Means I find the difference is in the mindset. Can we do it? Yes, we can do it. Our ISROs, our defenses, these are good examples that whatever we want to do, we can do. But do we do it in every field? No. The reason is that, I feel.
It's only the time what I matters, I would say. Because,
we are in the same time frame, but we are behind and the West is fast. And we are the same people delivering for them. So that was
I would
a curious
say there is
question.
a different mindset of the people which has to be changed. So people say, no, what the US is doing, we are following up. What China is doing, XYZ is doing, following up. So we are also there at many places, we are upfront. So it takes times to enhance the things or to adapt the things, I would say. So that is the only reason we are a little behind on the AI or Gen AI, whatever we talk about it. But we are not behind about anything.
You have any comments?
Yeah, maybe few comments. Like if you see the developed countries versus developing countries, it's not India alone. But if you see all South Asian and APAC countries are having very different processes and different mechanisms to go through, and each of them have its own complexities with respect to either procurement or any other function for that matter. Whereas in developed countries, the processes are a little bit more harmonized, and what is happening is when you are selecting to start any pilots or POCs, because they have well-developed processes and all, you are starting with that. But what is slowly happening is that once they stabilize there in US or Europe, But all these global companies, they are trying to do across the world, coming into single process. So that way, if you see whether we are operating GCCs from India or any other place, I think whole country in adoption of these technologies, I think they will reach to the similar stage, maybe a little bit of time gap, I would say.
Got it. Thank you so much. I think it's been a great discussion. We discussed a range of topics this afternoon post-lunch. It started with trying to understand the impact of AI on procurement. There is definitely an impact of AI on procurement. We are automating our processes. We are making it so robust that it's unbiased in supplier selection. We are even expecting and anticipating our suppliers to be more proactive in trying to implement certain latest technologies into their products and not come with those general vanilla products that we keep seeing in the market. They're not always exciting to the organization. So we look forward to see more products which are with latest technology. And I think there are several use cases that the team talked about of how generative AI is being implemented into our day-to-day activities. And definitely with these ideas and thoughts in place, we are here to build some strong GCC organizations and enterprises. Thank you so much. Over to you, madam.